I wake, I write, I eat.
I've probably had more meals with you than my wife.
I watch TV.
Also?
This is the place. This is where we live. This is my 20,000th day on Earth.
This film does a rather clever thing, really, that it reveals more than I think has been revealed in anything about me before. But at the same time creates more mystery by revealing that. I mean, there's a kind of juggling act that happens in the film.
Do you love performing still?
I live for it. There's something that happens on stage where you are transported.
Nick had started to work on his new record, and he called and said, look, why don't you come into the studio with some cameras? Because no one's ever done that. Kind of right at the beginning, you know, when him and Warren are writing, and it's very, very early days, and normally they wouldn't let anyone anywhere near them with a camera, but because we've kind of got to know each other pretty well over the last few years, and we're kind of, you know, good at keeping out of the way and being low-key. So Nick had said, come in and shoot some stuff, see what you get. And the stuff we got was just amazing, just absolutely floored us that we were getting this kind of access to such a sort of intimate moment of creation. And so we just knew immediately we had to do something bigger.
They suggested making a Nick Cave documentary, and this was something I had no interest in doing whatsoever, because to me a Nick Cave documentary meant telling this same story that gets told in all the editorials and biographies and that sort of thing that have been about me, and that holds no interest. My story as such holds no interest to me, really. So I kind of agreed to allow them to work at something, as long as it was something that was different, something that no one had seen before. And they kind of went ahead and did this, and I think produced something that was extraordinary, really.
There's a world I'm creating. A world full of monsters and heroes, good guys and bad guys. It's an absurd, crazy, violent world where people rage away and God actually exists.
We had those two cycles that play out in the film. One is the very simple cinematic structure of a day in the life. Your audience knows where they're at. You know, it's a journey. You're going from one end of the day to the other. And then parallel to that, we have the creative cycle, the journey of a song from the moment that the lyrics pop into Nick's head or the melody begins to take form on the piano, all the way through demoing, rehearsals, and then onto the stage of the Sydney Opera House.
We had an agreement to begin with that I would allow myself to be kind of put through certain scenarios, which, quite frankly, I was extremely doubtful that it would be successful. Knowing that I could remove anything that I didn't like, you know. So when they wanted to film me waking up in the morning with my wife, this idea was kind of ludicrous to me. The idea of standing in front of a mirror half naked and looking at myself in the mirror also filled me with a certain amount of horror. But, you know, they filmed it in a mysterious sort of way, and it worked.
The opening scene of Nick waking up in bed really was, well, as much as anything, a kind of in-joke for us, that it was kind of, you know, almost the most intimate moment you could share with someone is that moment where they wake up in the morning in bed with their wife, and that we kind of start there and then immediately just run to somewhere completely different.
As you get older, your world shrinks. What you have to write about becomes less and less, and the imagination becomes more and more important in a way. And memory becomes more and more important. And I think this became the overarching theme because of that. So it was kind of interesting to make a film a film that masqueraded as real life, as a day in the life of Nick Cave, but at the same time was completely fictitious. My biggest fear, I guess, is losing my memory. It does worry me at times that I'm not going to be able to continue to do what I do and reach a place that I'm satisfied with.
In a sense?
Because memory is what we are, you know, and I think that your very soul and your very reason to be alive is tied up in memory.
Having known Nick for a period of time and having worked together in the past really taught us that we knew from the very beginning was that you have to hold Nick's attention. If he gets bored, you lose him, and suddenly you have a very different Nick. So you've got to work quickly.
I don't like acting. I can't. There's nothing worse than sitting around on a set waiting to do your thing and all of that sort of stuff. And to be doing that in a film that's about yourself is even more hideous. But really, mostly I wanted some of the live stuff that they, you know, some of the performances of the songs, some of that rehearsal stuff. You know, I love that stuff. That was really natural. That was really true. So much more was in those performances than you can ever get in a video.
We used the music as a way of enhancing some of the kind of beats, the moments in the film, and to give you a break from, you know, endless philosophical thought and theory or storytelling.
For me, there's a kind of psychodrama that goes on between singular people in the front row that becomes very important in the telling of the narratives of the songs. I get a huge amount of energy from
picking up singular
people and terrifying them.
Really? Do you make it your mission to terrify
Well,
them?
it's that kind of mixture of awe and terror that you can get from one person or a small group of people that is really that gives a huge amount of energy to kind of transform yourself. Hadn't seen Kylie in years, actually. It kind of really brought home to me how those sort of friendships can get lost just because of how busy you are and life and all that sort of stuff.
You know, the mythology is the story. I think that's the thing, you know, the conceit that somehow that you can get behind the mask of a rock star is kind of bizarre when you think about it too much, because, you know, a rock star, as Nick says in the film, if they're any good, the mask is gone. There is no mask. They are the thing that they've created. There's no mask to take away. You know, Nick spent, 35 years that we know of in public creating the character that is Nick Cave, and, you know, who knows how many years in his bedroom as a teenager before then. And he is the thing that he's created.
My last will and testament. Okay, it seems like I wanted all my money, which was nothing, I would say, at that time, to go to the Nick Cave Memorial Museum. A small but adequate room or rooms will serve as the Nick Cave Memorial Museum.
Do you remember writing it?
No. And it was 87 was a difficult year to remember, 87.
So
80 anything was difficult to remember.
You could make this film about anybody's creative process. I don't think you'd make as good a film with anybody else. I don't think that, anybody else would be quite so strange and yet profound.
You know, I'm been involved in films, other films, and there's always the core idea, and the core idea, the pure idea, very rarely gets realised. Filmmaking seems to be, to me at least, a form of massive compromise. And I was really struck by how close the film is to the original idea. It's something else when you go and see a film and you can see that the artist's vision has been realised and it hasn't been compromised, and it makes it through to the end, and the credits come up and you think, okay, that guy, that girl, or whoever has made a film that is true to what they want, or you get that feeling, and that's the feeling I got from 20,000 Days.